It's estimated that we make 200 decisions a day just on like food and what to watch. And some estimates say that it's almost like 35,000 decisions, micro decisions, right? Like those moment to moment, like, do I want to watch this show? Okay, do I want to keep watching this show? Like those types of decisions. And I was reading this article on decision fatigue, and the people were studying how to use AI to help people reduce decision fatigue. And it just got me thinking, why do we even have decision fatigue? Is that a problem that a lot of people are facing? And I would say a lot of people that I work with, yes, you are struggling with decisions and decisions can feel exhausting. But I think a really important part of that is the why, right? Like, why are decisions so exhausting for everybody? And to me, from having this human design knowledge of there are amazing ways to help people learn how to make decisions by trusting themselves, right? And like each person is meant to make decisions a little bit differently. And so sometimes when we have this, like, you're supposed to make decisions like this advice, it can be really disruptive when it's very different to how you're actually meant to make decisions for your energy. And then there's the other part. Decision making is really exhausting when we're constantly focused on what do other people think I should do, or even just what should I do, right? Like that, those things that pull us out of ourselves to wonder what's the right thing to do based on what everyone else thinks the right thing to do is. So yeah, that type of decision making is exhausting, but just really tricky to think about how important our decisions are, right? Like decisions are what guide us to what's important to us and what matters and what we're fascinated about. And so thinking of getting rid of decision making and giving that power over to anyone, let alone AI, is a really tricky spot. So decisions are really on my mind today. So that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to go into the 8 different authority types and how you're meant to make decisions based on your authority type. And then we're going to go into why decisions are so important when it comes to breaking cycles. And then also, what can you do about it? Practical tips and tools to use to not only help with your decision making, but also break cycles in your life. So if you don't already have your human design chart, you can go to my website at soulfootingguidance.com and you can get your chart under the human design section. I'm also going to put it in the show notes too. So feel free to pause this video here, go get your chart and come on back so you can learn more about your authority types. So now that you have your chart available, the 8 different authority types that we're going to go over are emotional, sacral, splenic, ego heart manifested, ego heart projected, self projected, environment slash mental, and lunar. And we're going to go through them in that order so you can look for yours.
All right, so starting with emotional authority, this is about 50% of the population. Everyone with emotional authority has an emotional wave. There are 4 different types of waves, which we won't talk about today. This wave is meant to be this ebb and flow of emotion, these highs and lows that come and go, and they don't have a why to them necessarily. Like, you are meant to feel deeply and gain wisdom from your emotions throughout your life. And you are meant to make decisions by giving yourself time to move through that wave before you say yes or no to something. So this is not a go with your gut type of authority. This is give yourself time, give yourself patience, surrender into uncertainty and take the pressure off so that you can move through your emotions and get to a place of clarity and emotional neutrality and then make a decision. And then we go into sacral authority. So sacral authority, this is more of the go with the gut that people think about when they're making decisions. But it's very much from the body and not the mind. And looking for what brings excitement, expansion, almost like a moving toward, maybe an inspiration feeling. That's more of a yes. And then what might feel contracted or blah or kind of pulling back. And really important that people with sacral authority learn how to be present, because that's when you're able to respond to the things around you. And then splenic authority. So this one is more of the whisper. It's one of the more subtle or quiet authorities, where you are designed to listen to your immediate instinct about what feels right. It's very instinctual, and often it's presented once, and then if you don't hear it that one time because you weren't present or you weren't kind of tuning into it, you have to come back to it a little bit later. So it's very much in the moment decision making, and can maybe even look like impulsive to other people. And a big part about splenic authority is if you feel a lot of fear about a decision, it can make it really hard to even figure out what you want or what's right, because fear can really impact our intuition and our instincts. So then we go into ego projected and ego manifested authorities. So this one is really connected to the question of, does this serve me? And people with this one are meant to make decisions from that. Kind of the only group of people that could make a decision from like, is this enough money for me? Kind of thing. So it's most connected to the material plane. And a lot of people feel it kind of in their chest area, like what is going to serve me? And when you're ego manifested, it means that you need to speak it out loud. You need to hear yourself say it, and then that is the truth that you're meant to find. So your voice leads and you follow is the ego manifested. And ego projected is a little bit different in that way, where you don't necessarily need to speak it out loud in the same way that ego manifested does. So what benefits and serves me, and what will serve me and benefit me will benefit others, is kind of the idea of it. And then we go into G-center authority, or self-projected. Depending on where you look, you can kind of see either one listed. And this is connected to, does this decision bring me closer to my life's direction? Because the G center is very connected to life direction. And this is another one where people with this authority are meant to speak out loud and listen to themselves and then hear the truth come out of what they're saying. So it might not be the first thing that's said feels like the truth, but it's maybe speaking on it and hearing yourself kind of talk about things. And it can be talking to other people, it can be talking to yourself, talking to the air, but just really talking through things so that you get clarity on what you are feeling about something. And it can't be in your head, it has to be out loud. That's a really important piece of it. So if people have this self-projected energy just stuck inside them, they can deliberate on a decision inside themselves and feel really spinny and loopy, versus when they bring it out of their voice, then it can have a lot more of a linear understanding to it. And then we go into the mental/environmental authority. And this is again connected to, does this decision feel right? And people with this one have all their centers below their throat undefined. And so this one is the most connected to needing to mentally consider a decision, and then also spend time in various environments and various, like, kind of moving your body in different places as you're deciding something to gain clarity. So you're meant to think through things mentally, but you're still not making your decision from your mind. You're still making it from your body, because you're waiting till your body gets to a sense of clarity. So clarity is really important with that one. And then we go to lunar authority. And this is one that only reflectors can have. And this is also connected to, does this feel right for me? But with this one, with reflectors, it's connected to the 28-day lunar cycle. And so small decisions might be like, what feels right in this moment? And what feels right today might feel totally different than what is going to feel good a week from now. So it's very much in the moment and trusting, even if I would feel differently about it at a different moment, I'm meant to trust this one. And then with bigger decisions, really waiting to get clarity, because with reflectors, they move through the 64 gates throughout the whole lunar cycle. So it allows them to feel into different energies by the time they get to that 28th day, being able to kind of sample all these different energies to decide, okay, now that I've had a chance to experience all of that, what's right for me?
There's often a huge shift that we can feel in our pre-decision life and our making the decision post-decision life. Before we make a decision, especially the big kind, right? Like the should we stay in a relationship? Should we leave the relationship? Should we move across the country? Those are big decisions and they can be intimidating. And yet you have it inside of yourself. You already know, right? Like in this knowing what's right for you. And you know where you're feeling pulled to. And you're not being pulled to it by your mind, right? Your body is actually pulling you, or your voice is pulling you, depending on what your authority is. So before the making the decision, you might feel shut down. You might feel afraid of change, afraid of uncertainty, almost getting comfortable with the discomfort of living a life that doesn't quite feel right, but it's what you know and it's more comfortable than what you don't know. It can often feel almost like safer choosing the thing that we know, even if that thing is slowly sucking the life off out of us, or like we can feel it in our bones that it just doesn't feel right, and yet we try to avoid making a decision. And something that can be helpful for us to know is whether we're making a decision or we're not making a decision, we're always making a decision. So it can be helpful to even be aware of where the decisions we even have to make, to bring that into our conscious awareness that even if we're not making a choice, we are making a choice. In my case, I had to come to the realization of me not making a choice to leave a relationship meant I was making the choice to stay. And once I put it into perspective like that, of I'm making the choice to stay here, that also meant I had to take responsibility of all the things I was actually choosing, right? Like my health was deteriorating and each day felt the same and each day felt exhausting. And so I kind of had to realize, oh, I'm choosing to be exhausted. I'm choosing for the days to kind of be soul sucking of my energy. So there is a cost to staying. There's a cost to not choosing. And when we make decisions based on what our authority is telling us, and also realizing that we are the only one that gets to decide for us, that we have authority over our own life, big shifts start to come in that spot. So knowing what our authority is and practicing using it. Like we actually have to practice using it and practice listening. You know, if you have sacral authority, you have to practice listening to like what noises come out of my mouth when I'm feeling expanded, or what does my body feel like when I want something versus when I don't want it. And with splenic authority, like how do I start listening to the really quiet, usually physiological, just knowings about what's right or what's not right? Or how do I stick to my decision and what I know, even if someone's like, are you sure? But when we know what our decision making authority is, it gets a lot easier to get to know ourselves better. And it also takes the exhaustion of decision making out of the picture, right? Like if we can listen to ourselves when we're making decisions and we know that our decision making and our knowing is already within us, it's a lot less exhausting, right? Like decision fatigue comes from looking outside of ourselves to try to make decisions. And trying to make decisions with our mind is a really big part of why decision making can feel so exhausting when we don't know how to do it yet, when we don't know how to listen to ourselves, or we maybe don't even know like the skills and the tools of how to listen to ourselves yet. And then there's this other side of skills on the other side of making the decision, which is surrendering to uncertainty and trusting that we made the decision that was right for us at the time. And if we, 5 days from now decide something different, that also is the right thing for us. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with us. And when we're more able to move through that discomfort of making a decision that might mean we have more uncertainty, right? Like leaving a relationship and not knowing what's next or where you're going to go, where you're going to live, that is scary uncertainty. And at the same time, on the other side is most likely, living in an apartment or a home that doesn't feel tense all the time and where you feel tapped into your creativity of decorating it the way you've always wanted to decorate it and having more joy and more laughter and more, I always think of like juiciness, life juiciness on the other side of that decision. But there is going through the uncertainty. That is part of it. So part of how we do this, right? Learning how to make your decision based on your authority, practicing making those decisions, which builds up our self-trust. There's also another piece where we can start recognizing what's not in alignment. Where do we feel like this agitation or this tension in our life because it's probably telling us something. It might be telling us even of, hey, there's this decision that you're grappling with and you need to make it. And the more clarity we get around those things, the more access we have to living a life that feels more satisfying and peaceful and easeful, where we feel more grounded and less tension. Because a lot of that tension comes from knowing we need to make a decision and not making it yet, which again, like I was saying, means we're making one, but we're often choosing the thing that hurts us and not choosing the thing that is scary to choose, but is more in alignment. And when we learn how to do this with decisions, over time, we stop second guessing them. Like we have confidence in them when we're making them, and then we have confidence in them after we make it. And that often means that we feel more connected to our creativity. We feel more connected to our self-expression. We feel like our purpose and our direction are more accessible. And within your chart, we already know how you individually are meant to make decisions. So a really helpful part about this is that it takes some of the guesswork out of how you are meant to make them. You still have to do the work on making the decisions and navigating what does this feel like in my body and all of that. And at the same time, there's a little bit more of a blueprint and less having to get sucked into those traps of one size fits all decision making. And it might even move to this place, and I feel this way now, that decisions are actually enjoyable and they're actually fun when you don't have to second guess yourself all the time. Decisions are based on like, it's how you even have a great meal when you go out to dinner because you just trust like, ooh, this sounds good. I want to eat this. Yes. And then you end up having a way better dinner than, oh, what should I get? I don't know. What do you think I should get? Like, how would someone else know what you should get for dinner? So it actually makes decisions not very exhausting when we're doing it in a way of listening to ourselves. And then we get to experience more that life has to offer because we are taking ownership and we are taking initiative and we are owning the authority of our own life. Decisions matter, and you have everything you need to make the decisions that are right for your life. And I do this mentorship work, right? And part of my work is helping people learn how they make decisions. It's not giving advice or telling people what I think they should do. A lot of it is teaching people how to listen to their voice, teaching people how to listen to their body. So if this is all feeling really poignant for your life right now, the best thing you can do is go to my website at soulfootingguidance.com and apply to work with me for one-on-one mentorship. And I really help people get this process down because once you do, you don't have to look outside of yourself anymore to figure out what you should do. And that takes a huge weight off your chest. So join me. The link will be in the show notes, and I will see you soon.